good for the environment. There's a really report that was released recently that I found really interesting, and it looked at the number of persons to years of employment for different energy sources. And what it found was that solar PV creates 12 times more jobs than nuclear, 15 times more than coal. And of course, this is just the economic benefit of what we're talking about. Another thing is, as we've seen from various case studies in Europe, which are really forerunners in this renewable energy game, what we've seen is, traditionally what happens is the cost of electricity is expected to spike probably about 1.2% is what they're saying, and then decline steadily as those renewable energy contracts come online and come on into the system. So just in hard numbers, in its first year, the Act generated over $9 billion in investments, specifically in areas of design, manufacturing, construction, and engineering. And actually those numbers are, that $9 billion is actually from July of last year, so I haven't actually done a check since then, but it's quite impressive for its first year. And of course, McGuinty himself has said he wants to bring in 50,000 new green jobs to Ontario over the next 3 years. Okay, so I usually present to students, and when I get to this slide, I say, okay, let's name some green-collar careers, let's name some jobs. And I usually get one shy hand in the back that says, tree planting? And I say, yeah, okay, that's great. But there are a lot of things going on that I feel like students aren't aware of. And what I like to tell them is the green energy industry is so new in a way. It's so new that we're actually just starting to come up with the language to talk about it now. So just in the same way that, before the internet, there was no such thing as an IT specialist. In the same way, as we're kind of developing these new technologies, as we're recognizing new needs, we're getting all these new job titles. So an energy auditor is a really good example of this. Because of this kind of awareness around energy efficiency and energy conservation, because the public eye is on that, we're getting a job where somebody with a skilled trades background, so somebody who's really just an expert in heating and cooling systems, in building structures, in insulation, and things like that, in building sciences, we're getting this energy auditor position. Somebody who's using that skilled trades expertise and putting an energy lens to it. In the same way, energy managers, really are just facilities managers. The facilities guy used to be that guy that just had, a ring of keys that he swung around, and he was in charge of locking up and turning on the lights or turning off the lights, turning on the escalators, turning off the escalators. A lot of what you're finding now is that facilities managers are becoming energy experts. They're crunching data, they're monitoring energy consumption, they're finding ways to cut corners, they're using building automation, and they're doing retrofits on their buildings, ultimately to save energy and also ultimately to save money. Does anybody know, or do people know what LEED is? Okay, so LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And it was something that was created in the States probably in the late 90s. And it's quite recent in Canada. It's only come online in Canada in the last 5 or 6 years. But it's gaining ground and gaining a really solid reputation as a third-party certification system for green buildings. As it's gaining this strong reputation, what it's doing is also really changing certain career fields. So engineering, architecture, skilled trades, going back to that idea that these traditional career fields are really needing to be really energy smart and have that new green perspective and green knowledge base. So the message that I walk away, that I want students to be walking away with is that green jobs can really be in any field. Green is just really the lens that you put onto any job. So certainly, there are some specialized careers that are specific to green. So wind turbine technicians, environmental impact assessments, certainly. But there are also lots of crossover careers. So traditional career fields that are incorporating this green perspective and new green skill set. So namely the skilled trades, architecture, and even software development. There's certainly so much going on right now in software development with regard to energy management, GHG emissions, monitoring, things like that. And then also, there are some careers that are just common to every industry. So every industry is going to need marketing and communications experts. Every company needs an accountant. Every company needs a website and web designer. And those are really for my students that kind of look at me and say, I want to be an accountant. What do you have for me, really? And I say, well, you know, you can be an accountant for Shell, or you can be an accountant for a green company, and so forth. So if I were to basically name 3 sectors within the green industry that we're expecting specifically high growth and good employment prospects, these are the 3 I picked, basically. Energy management and conservation, that message is never going to go away. It's only going to get stronger. And again, a lot of the career fields are going to have that energy knowledge and energy savvy. Renewable energy, as we kind of have that political and economic incentive right now, I think certainly that industry is experiencing incredibly high growth. And of course the skilled trades. The skilled trades are doing exceptionally well right now as well. Okay, so with regard to college and university stream students, certainly most universities have, or all universities have, extensive environmental science and environmental studies programs, but also engineering and architecture are really going to be big players in this green industry as well. A number of the colleges across Ontario have recently started energy programs, so energy systems technology, energy management, renewable energy technology, and that's sort of the proof of the pudding, because that was actually the industry crying out and saying, we really need people, we don't have anybody who can do the work. We really need an educational infrastructure that's going to get us these skilled workers. So the colleges have now responded, and what you're seeing is these energy programs are popping up everywhere. For your students that really aren't post-secondary learners, for your hands-on learning students, the good news is that a number of the green energy opportunities that are coming out are technical trades. So apprenticing in areas like HVAC, carpentry, roofing, an electrician's apprenticeship really gives them a very solid foundation to take advantage of a lot of these opportunities that are coming out. So an energy auditor, for example, most energy auditors have a background in either roofing or HVAC. Electricians are doing exceptionally well right now because the solar industry is doing really well. All solar installations are overseen by master electricians. A lot of the connection work is done by electricians. Okay, in terms of where to direct students, just to talk briefly about truck education again, we've actually been all across Ontario talking to students about green careers and also delivering hands-on workshops. So we've done talks in Niagara. We're actually at a Passport to Prosperity event in Lindsay, Ontario. We helped schools in Waterloo with their student recruitment efforts for SHSM in their energy and environment SHSM schools there. We've been as far as Sudbury as well. So, and offering basically renewable energy workshops and presentations on green collar careers. Enermodel is really interesting. Enermodel is an engineering firm, and they do a lot of work on LEED projects. And they have this nice little educational kiosk. It's kind of like an interactive kiosk in their green buildings that you can basically go up and look at. It'll kind of display all the features of the green building features in that building. So it's a nice kind of little interactive display. I've just kind of written down a few.